10 plus Kenobi series theories, that rhymed, and how likely they actually are. I've put together 10 theories for the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi series, some pretty crazy and definitely unlikely, and some very believable, scored them out of 10 and ranked them from least to most likely, so let's go through them. So starting off, I'm genuinely confused how this even exists, how anyone even believes that this will happen. Obi-Wan Kenobi will have his life force drained from him, therefore making him look older, to explain the difference of appearance between Ewan McGregor and Sir Alec Guinness. No, they aren't going to do this. What, are they going to say that Han Solo fell in a Sarlacc pit between Solo A Star Wars Story and A New Hope because he looks slightly different? No, of course not. It's just one actor looks a little bit different from the other. Yes, this would explain Obi-Wan's change in appearance, but it doesn't need to be explained. This is scored at a 0.0001 out of 10. It's genuinely not going to happen. If it does, I'll give away a lightsaber or something. Hold me to that as well. I'm confident this won't happen. Now, second up is actually a theory that I had of my own, and it's that Maul will appear and fight Darth Vader in the series. Now, I did make this theory before we had it confirmed that Maul won't be in the series, but come on. There's a high chance they could be lying to us, but either way, we're asking for a bit much if we want to see a Maul versus Vader fight in the same series that we're getting 2 Vader versus Obi-Wan fights. Now, I don't think it's the worst theory, because if Maul is going to be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, he can't meet Obi-Wan because he doesn't know that he's alive in Rebels. So if he's in the series, he has to meet other characters, and the other main character is Vader. So if Maul is in this series, this one is very likely, but I just don't think he will be anymore, therefore it is a 3 out of 10. The third theory is something that is definitely going to happen eventually, it's just whether it happens in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but I don't really think that it fits the series unless the character that it involves is in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and it is that we will learn of who saved Grogu in the Jedi Temple. So obviously what I mean is if the Jedi that saved Grogu appears in the Kenobi series, it's probably pretty likely, but I don't think they will. Therefore, this is joint with the last one at a 3 out of 10. But if we want to get technical, I think it's like a little bit more likely, so 3.1. We did get a Grogu flashback in the Book of Boba Fett, and that was unexpected. So it's not the most outrageous thing to suggest that we will get it in the Kenobi series, but I really don't think it's going to happen. I mean, at least in the Book of Boba Fett, Grogu appeared. Now, fourth is one that people actually thought was really likely, maybe like a year or so ago from now, and now there's less people that believe it, and it's that the Obi-Wan versus Vader fights won't be real. They will be only dreams, visions, projections, or whatever. Now, I can understand why people think this, because they don't think that Obi-Wan and Vader should meet between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, because for one, the dialogue in A New Hope, 2, Vader isn't certain if Obi-Wan is alive, 3, he also doesn't know where Obi-Wan is, so it would mean that Obi-Wan would have to leave Tatooine, which would mean he'd have to leave Luke. So yeah, you can understand it, but I think it's pretty obvious now that the fights are going to be real. Obi-Wan is going to be leaving Tatooine because we literally see him on a different planet. So therefore, this is only a 3.5 out of 10. However, I could definitely see one of the fights being a non-real fight. That is quite likely, but definitely not both. Now, the fifth one is that Obi-Wan will watch Commander Cody, his former clone from the 212th, die. Now, this theory obviously depends on just Cody generally appearing at all, and then if he does, him dying, and then if that happens, Obi-Wan watching. So there's 3 really huge things that aren't exactly a guarantee to happen that need to happen for this to happen. However, I do think that if we see Cody, there wouldn't be too much point including him unless Obi-Wan is going to meet him at some point. And I've also said before that we need Cody's story like fleshed out and ended, and well, one way to end it is if his story literally ends. So I could definitely see this, but in my last video, I'm pretty sure I said that Cody appearing was only a 5.5 out of 10.
Flashback.
Commander Cody and Captain Rex both tied at a 5.5 out of 10 chance, in my opinion. So therefore, this theory itself will only be a 5 out of 10. Now, the sixth theory that I have is a weird one because there is no reason why this should not happen. It's just whether they thought of actually doing it. Because if Dave Filoni or whoever was in charge actually thought of this, I can't think of one reason why he wouldn't do this. And the theory is that Ganodi, however you pronounce it, is actually one of the Inquisitors that we see in the Kenobi series trailer. This definitely isn't as bad as the Barasofi is the seventh sister theory. I really don't like that one, because not only are the 2 characters the same species, one character doesn't have any defining features that isn't on the other one. So if this idea came to someone's head working on the Kenobi series, I don't see why they wouldn't go through with it. It just adds a bit more depth to a random Inquisitor character, making them not just a random Inquisitor character we don't care about. And we obviously know that the Inquisitors were like former Jedi, and there's been enough time between that episode of the Clone Wars, or episodes, and the Kenobi series for the age difference to be made up, because obviously the one in the Kenobi series is an adult. So I score this at a 6 out of 10, but as always, let me know what you think about this. Now the 7th one is that Obi-Wan will fake his death. Now I mentioned earlier that Vader wasn't too sure about Obi-Wan's survival. That could be why. If Captain Rex is in this series, it makes sense for Obi-Wan to fake his death, because Rex thinks that Obi-Wan is not alive when it comes to Rebels. And it would also explain why potentially the Inquisitors and Vader stop their search for Obi-Wan after meeting him in this series. However, this is faking his death rather than just believed to be dead for some other reason, so therefore this is only a 6.5 out of 10. If you wanted to combine both of those things and just say that Vader will think that Obi-Wan is dead by the end of this series, then maybe it'd be like an 8 or something out of 10. But the more popular idea at the moment in the fandom is that he will specifically fake his death, so 6.5. Now 8. A different Jedi to Obi-Wan Kenobi will be on Tatooine, and the reason why the Inquisitors are there. This is pretty likely, because why would the Inquisitors be on Tatooine? If they knew specifically that Obi-Wan Kenobi was there, then Darth Vader would be there instead of the Inquisitors, so there must be someone else. There's obviously not too many candidates for this, but some examples would be Cal Kestis, Mace Windu, Quinlan Vos, and that's about it. Maybe Ahsoka, but I don't really see why she'd be on Tatooine. I guess the same applies for the others. Why would anyone go to Tatooine? But it's a bit random for multiple Inquisitors to be on Tatooine, so I think they've got word of a Jedi being there. Whether that Jedi be Obi-Wan and they just couldn't identify him, or someone else, I don't know. But I think this has a 7 out of 10 chance of being true, because there is always the chance that someone saw Obi-Wan use the Force, but didn't know it was Obi-Wan. Now at an 8 out of 10, something that I guarantee every single one of you watching this video would want to see is that we will see Obi-Wan learn of Darth Vader's survival for the first time in the series. Now, it has been 10 years since the Mustafar fight, so there is definitely a chance that Obi-Wan would have heard about Darth Vader existing by this time. But then you can counter that because there's always the chance for flashbacks. This was definitely a very shocking moment for Obi-Wan, so even if it happened only 2 to 3 years after the Mustafar fight, given how strong his emotions would have been in that moment, that could be a period that he flashes back to and has nightmares over in his dreams. And even so, Obi-Wan isolated himself most of the time when on Tatooine, so there is still the chance that he genuinely learns about it for the first time in real time in the series. I do genuinely believe that this will happen, and I'm really, really excited for it. And the 10th theory, or theories, there's a couple contained within this one, is actually in this video right here, and it talks about who will be the most powerful Inquisitor and how the Kenobi series could change the current answer. As always, thank you for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Comment what your favourite or what you think is the most likely theory. Subscribe for more. I'll see you in that video, and goodbye.